Hello, lovely. I hope you're good. Thank you for joining me today. Now, something I really want to talk to you about today is finding that love of posting on Instagram again. I have been on Instagram posting multiple times a day for over 8 years now. And for a long time, I loved it, and it came from passion and a place where I got excited to post. It was about chasing followers, and it wasn't about getting the numbers and going viral. I was posting for pure joy, purely out the fact of I was making play content, I would take a video or an image, a snapshot of my child playing, and I would think, oh, I can't wait to share this with my audience. They're going to love this. It's going to really help them, and I would post it. I wouldn't have to wait till a particular time of day. I wouldn't have to write a formulated caption. I wouldn't have to have a hook for it. I posted from a place of love, a place of wanting to share, a place of wanting to help others. And it really feels like there's been a massive shift recently from the last year, possibly 2 years, where now creating content, you need a strategy in place. You need your content pillars. You need a hook. You need a caption. You need a content formula. You need your hashtags. Like, it just feels so scientific almost, doesn't it, when it comes to creating content? And I get it. I understand it. I get it. Of course, it was going to go this way. However, I just feel like because of this, particularly those of us that are creative, we're really finding that I find it personally I'm finding that I'm trying to fit in a box. Basically, I'm having to fit myself in like an Excel spreadsheet, and that's not the kind of person I am. I'm spontaneous, I'm creative, I have my best ideas in the moment, not when I'm sat with a pen and paper trying to come up with content ideas. I have it when I'm playing with my kids, when we're out and about, when I'm trying not to work. That's when I have all my amazing ideas. And as a creative person, I think we can feel very constricted with the new way of having to post on Instagram. And so this is something that I want to talk about today, because I really want you to have a love for creating content and posting, because I think if not, it makes the process really hard. It makes it feel more like a chore if it's something that, like, right, I've got to sit down and spend an hour writing amazing hooks and writing all this amazing content, because everything's got to go viral in order for me to have a successful business. And I feel like it's putting a lot of pressure on every single post. Instead of posting for the love of it, it's posting because we have to, and I have to post in the right way. And then if something doesn't go well, it's like, well, I must have got the hook wrong, or I must not have been high enough quality, or I must not have taught enough. And it can feel like quite a dangerous cycle to go into, quite a negative cycle. And I don't want it to be like that. I have loved jumping on lives. I've loved posting content any time of the day. And so, yeah, it really feels like we've almost lost that passion for it, or that ability to be creative and try new things, because we're all told that we've got to stick to this strategy. However, I recently heard an interview. I watched a very short clip interview, a reel, because it's always reels, isn't it, of Masori being interviewed. I really hope I'm saying his name correctly. He is Adam Masori, the head of Instagram. He's great. I really like, the way he is running Instagram, but the way he is as the head of Instagram. He's showing up, he's creating content, he's answering questions on a regular basis. Yeah, I just feel like he's really putting himself out there. Perhaps something Mark Zuckerberg maybe should have done with Facebook. But Adam Masori is really good. He highlights creators that are doing well. He comes on, he has a question box every week. He's just a much more relatable person, because he shows up and you get to see the person behind Instagram rather than the algorithm feeling like almost like a robot. It's great to hear the reasoning and the strategies behind the things that they're doing on Instagram. So I highly recommend, if you're creating content, that you follow him. It helps you to keep up with like what's going on. Anyway, in this latest interview, he was being interviewed by a creator, and he sounded like, I can't actually remember the name of the creator, but it sounded like he was obviously someone big, with a big following rather. And this guy was pretty much saying the same thing I am, that, there's a real strategy at the minute, and it really feels like there's a lot of pressure on content creators to make sure that every piece goes viral, and it's like trying to find that viral formula, rather than posting out of love or posting from a place of wanting to help people or because you're enjoying it or all that sort of stuff. And this content creator was saying that actually he's decided to go about it a different way. And he has decided that his content is almost going to be telling a story. He's going to see each piece of content telling part of a story rather than everything having to go viral. Actually, as a whole, it's like a piece of the pie. It's almost coming together to tell part of the story, whether it's your brand story or a personal story you've been on or helping people or whatever it might be. And I love that. And this helped me to have a real light bulb moment. I was recently I was holding a live workshop with my business mums. So anyone that goes through my course, I have a membership site where we do like workshops and I do live videos and tutorials and stuff. And in there, I had my own little light bulb moment. You could see my eyes, like the cogs working and putting everything together. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's what it is. I think and that's really changed it for me recently. When I've been posting now, I'm starting to see it as building that picture. And so what I want you to almost do is, rather than thinking like, right, every piece of content I create has to go viral, has to perform really well, has to have a hook and a caption and hashtags and is try and see it as your Instagram grid as a puzzle. So they're all puzzle pieces and it's making up your whole story. And I think that really takes the pressure off and makes it much more enjoyable. So each of your posts, whether it's a reel, a carousel, a single post, a live, whatever it might be, each one of those is a tiny piece of a jigsaw that's making a story, building a story so that you are getting your message across. You are showing who you are as a person. You are showing yourself as an authority in your niche or your expertise. You are showing off what you know. All of these pieces come together, whether it's a personal or professional journey you've been on, whether you're myth busting, whether you're teaching something, whether you're just sharing something like your family life or your dog or your hobbies. It's all those little pieces that build up you as a personal brand, you as a human. And that's what people connect with. And that's what people resonate with. All right, it might not go viral, but it doesn't matter. It's you sharing just another little cog, another little puzzle piece of the jigsaw that is building up that picture. And I think if you see it that way, for me personally, it really helps it. And it's like, okay, that was a real aha moment for me to see that, yes, that's what I'm doing, is I'm building my story. I'm building my brand. And that's made up of lots of different pieces of my values, my interests, my personal journey, my professional journey. All these little bits and pieces are building up the bigger picture. And I hope that takes the pressure off having to try and make viral content. So that's what I really want you to imagine. Now then, if you are making content on a regular basis, like I do, I must say I'm really enjoying making carousels at the moment. For me, they're performing actually better than my reels, which is really interesting. And I always love looking at patterns I feel like Instagram really should be the kind of place where you can do lots of trial and error. Try something. As my marketing manager always says, it's not like you're tattooing your face. Have a go, see if it resonates, see if it works. If it does, do more of it. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. Try something else. But I'm noticing I really enjoy making carousels, but they're also the ones that are performing really well, which is interesting. And I think that's because reels are getting, there's a lot of people creating reels at the moment. There's not more people on Instagram, but there's more people making reels. So that means that our attention, everyone's fighting for attention on reels. However, carousels seem to be performing really well. But if you're going to make the time and energy to create content, what I want you to do is, I think there are two things that you need to remember when you're creating content. Now, I want you to relate to this. I have the most handsome dog in the world. I know, I'm completely biased. Archie, my flat-coated retriever, he is so handsome. He is getting a bit old these days. He's 12 now, which is amazing. However, I always remember when we first got him, I watched this program on like how to train your dog sort of thing. And basically what they were saying was how to get your dog's attention. So, if you're out walking in a big field or a park and you want to get your dog's attention, you shout at them, you've whistled, all that sort of, and they turn around, is you've got to try and get their attention. And really, that's what we're doing on Instagram, isn't it? We're trying to stop the scroll. We're trying to get someone's attention so that they stop and pay attention to what we have to say and what we want to teach them. And I love this. And it really made me think about it the other day when I was out with Archie. I was walking him, a gorgeous sunny day in the fields behind our house. And I was shouting him and he just wasn't coming. He didn't want to come. So what I did was I dropped to the ground. I completely dropped to the ground and I was hidden amongst the grass. And the reason why I always remember on this program that I watched, the trainer, the dog expert said that dogs always see you stood up, shouting at them, shouting your name. However, to see you suddenly drop to the ground, it's not something that they always see. Or if you're crouching or if they see you laying on the ground, that's unusual. And that sparks their interest in like, what's happened? Or do they need me? Or this isn't usual, so I must go over and see what's going on. That's almost what we want to do, don't we? So it's a bit like that, you know, when you're trying to get your dog's attention, other side of the park, you drop to the ground and you shout them and he turns around. And honestly, it works every single time. It really does, I promise you. And this is a lesson that I've learned. Okay, you look daft, but it doesn't matter. You drop to the ground and they guarantee it will come running over because it's not how they normally see you. And so I want you to remember this when you're creating content. Now, the majority of us, and I'm guilty of this too, but the majority of us film our reels, holding the camera in front of us. Let me get a spare phone. You know, so many record our videos like this, either in a stand or holding it ourselves. We've got the phone out in front of us. So it's our head and shoulders, usually within the home, within the house, isn't it? And that's what people are used to seeing on a regular basis. However, if you suddenly, like we do to our dogs, when you suddenly drop and do something different, it sparks curiosity. And that's a really simple way of grabbing someone's attention. So making a reel or a piece of content where you wouldn't normally make your content is a really good thing to do. So perhaps if you're normally inside, you know, go outside. If you're normally sitting down, try standing. Even try props. I really love using deaf props. Now, I don't mind looking silly. I'm a primary school teacher by trade, so I'm used to a fancy dress. I usually have loads of different things. And right now I am holding up some sunflower sunglasses. I mean, they look fabulous, darling. But me starting a reel or a video with me holding and wearing these silly glasses or a pair of like bunny ears or whatever it might be, or holding something like I'm writing down with a notepad and pen. This is a trick that a lot of people are using at the moment to grab people's attention because it sparks that curiosity. It's like, what is she doing with them glasses on? So they stop, they listen, and you're stopping that scroll. So that's what we're trying to do. Just like on the dog walk, you're trying to stop your dog from running off completely. You're trying to stop them and grab their attention. That's what we're trying to do. So how can you do that with your content? It's just by pushing the boundaries, trying different things where you know, you might not want to wear the novelty sunglasses. I really don't mind, but you want to try and stop people. So just doing something a little bit different, lying down to record your reel, standing up, making a cup of tea, like whatever it is that you're doing, just something that makes them stop and be like, oh, something that's going to make them lean in because they want to listen, because you've sparked their curiosity. So holding something, wearing something, anything like that, or just being in an unusual place can definitely help. Then the second part to this is you want to make your content as touchable as possible. So you want to get them to stop and then you want to get them to touch it. And the way that we get them to touch it is by getting them to tap it, so liking it, you know, engaging in it. It gets them to stop and tap comments because they want to write something or leave an emoji. Or perhaps they want to send it to a friend as in, hey, look at this, you'll love this, this is hilarious. Or, oh, this is the woman I was telling you about. She's Ace, she's got loads of play ideas for kids. Something like that, or even contacting and replying to you, replying in comments or sending you a DM, be like, oh my goodness, this idea is amazing. I can't wait to try it. Because for me, I always know when a post is popping off and it's been really popular, when I get DMs, when it's been touched, basically, when people have liked it, when people feel the need to stop and comment on it, it makes it, one, it's much better for the algorithm, isn't it? We know that if it's got lots of engagement, Instagram will show it to more people. But I know as well, you can tell when your feed is popping off with lots of interaction, and particularly, I always think lots of interaction in your DMs as well, people reaching out to you. Now, Adam Athori did say that they use one of the best indicators of really good piece of content is how many shares it gets. So it's how many sending it to their friends, that, you know, the little arrow looks like a paper aeroplane, how many times they send it to their friends. So if you've done a post and lots of people are sharing it, it might be really funny or really useful, and they're sharing it to a friend, maybe they're tagging a friend or sharing it. Adam Athori is saying that's a really good indicator. Now, yes, it might be from the head of Instagram, personally for me, I always think your inbox is a really good indicator of how well you're connecting with your audience. It shows that you're having conversations. It shows that they resonate with you. They feel comfortable messaging you. And I hope that you're replying to them. All that sort of stuff really helps. So we want to make your posts stoppable, stop and drop, like you do with your dog. So people stop leaning because they're curious of what's going on, what's she doing now. And we also, and it's a really good way, I think, of like showing your personality as well. Like, I don't mind wearing the silly glasses. I don't mind putting on the bright pink lipstick, something that I really enjoy. I enjoy doing it, but you might find your own personal thing. And then the second thing is, how are you going to make your post touchable? So how are you going to encourage that? Well, that's usually comes from telling them, you know, save this for later, save this, tag a friend and tell them that this is a great idea. Like this post, share it, send it on to someone, and all those sorts of things is going to really, really help. So I hope this video has been helpful. I really hope it brings back that love of making content, because you can tell when someone is enjoying making the content, when it's not a chore, when they're doing it out of passion and love because they want to help people and they want to share their story. Think of it as a puzzle piece rather than every piece having to go viral. And I really hope that helps. If you would like help creating content for your business, your personal brand, please do get in touch. I've got loads of courses, workshops, videos, tutorials, all sorts of things that is going to help you and break it down so it's not quite as scary, because it should be really enjoyable, because it is a vehicle that's going to be able to change your life, the way that you work and the way that you are able to earn income. I hope that helps. Please let me know any of those tips have been helpful for you, and I can't wait to speak to you next week. Thank you so much. Bye.